one of my favorite franchises that I always tend to go back to over and over. I love to build their model kits. Mobile Suit Gundam. A lot of people that don't quite know about Gundam, they can feel pretty overwhelmed with where to start because there are so many series out there. I personally don't have a one specific series to recommend for any individual person. I would have to get to know somebody before I have an idea of which series I think which series I think might appeal to them the most. Gundam actually has quite a bit of variety. But I'm going to be going over a video from a Trash Taste Highlights. I believe it's a podcast hosted by the Anime Man, Sea-Dog VA, and Gigak. I don't know. I just tell everyone to watch Wing Anime Boy Harem. Totally fair. That's a good recommendation too. I love watching Endless Waltz. It's my favorite Christmas movie. Favorite of all time. Anyways, let's watch a bunch of dudes talk about how it's impossible to start the Gundam series. I think they're going to be mostly complaining about Universal Century, which, to be fair, is a very, very, very long universe. But not every series, I would say, is necessarily required watching. It helps. A lot of it is really well done, but I understand that a lot of people don't have all the time in the world to watch Gundam. Anyways, enough rambling. Let's listen to boys talk about anime.
One other anime I want to talk about, which I think is being, holy shit, so underappreciated right now, is the new Gundam.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. Witch from Mercury. So good. High five.
It's weird seeing just the dichotomy between how popular and how well advertised it is here in Japan, and just how underwatched it is with like Western audiences. You go to like
people are scared of Gundam.
Yeah, you go to like the My Anime List page and you scroll down of like all of like the fall anime seasons, and Gundam's like right near the bottom. Yeah. I'm like, how the fuck is a show this good that's delivering this hard that close to the bottom in terms of like popularity?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because like I think for a lot of people, Gundam is just like this thing that's been around for fucking, almost half a century at this point, right?
It's intimidating.
Yep, Gundam has been around. What was it, the 80s that it came out? Late 70s, I think? I have not lived in a world without Gundam. It's weird for me to think about that, but it's true. I just didn't know about it till late 70s. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it was like 78, 79 or so when the originals came out. But I didn't even know about Gundam until I actually watched Gundam Wing on TV when it actually came out. Hey, Maxie.
It's super intimidating.
It's intimidating.
Right? Because like people know the name,
Yeah.
but so few have actually sat down and like even watched half of the shit that's come out of the Gundam universe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think, hot take, cold take, it's because it heavily revolves around politics and people don't like talking about politics, and like, you cannot separate Gundam and politics. I will fight to the death on that hill. April 7th, 1979. Thank you. Oh, go charge your phone, Maxie.
Exactly.
And so like when you see a new Gundam, immediately you just think, oh, well, I do want to watch it. It looks cool. But that would mean I have to go all the way back and watch everything.
And obviously you don't have...
That is a bit of a misconception because there are a lot of... Like, there is a lot to the Universal Century where the Mobile Suit Gundam is followed by Zeta Gundam, is followed by Double Zeta, and there's like a lot of other different spin-off sort of shows like War in the Pocket, 8th MS Team, those kinds of things. where it feels very daunting of, oh, I need all this pre-watching. But in regards to like Witch from Mercury, if you want to just watch Witch from Mercury, just watch that. There is no previous watching required for that series. It's its own standalone Gundam universe, so to speak. Keep your politics out of games and anime. I don't want your woke BS in media. Just leave me alone with Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, and Gundam. Oh my god, I love that some people unironically argue that.
Have to, right?
You don't
Like,
have
that's-
to. No,
You don't have
absolutely
to,
not.
but it's kind of like, so there's, I'm gonna sound like that person again.
Oh, God.
So there's like
Go on.
there's like several different timelines in Gundam,
Hey, he sounds like me.
and so there's one main timeline that's kind of like the MCU, where it goes all
It's
the
like
way.
Fate.
Yeah, kind of, except things are in chronological order, right?
Yeah.
So it goes, and that timeline goes all the way to the very, very first Gundam that was made
Yeah.
in like 1970 or something. And I haven't watched any of those Gundams because I'm
I'm a real fan. I was waiting for the Fate comment. To be fair, I don't know anything about Fate at all, aside from the fact that I like Astolfo. I will not elaborate why.
that guy who wants to
Rule 34, that's why.
really immerse myself and know every little Easter egg and stuff like that. Right. So in order for me to enjoy some Gundams, like for example Gundam Unicorn or
Like
you know
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt.
Giga, is that the guy on the right who did the video on Fate? Something gold. I'm not sure which person is which. I just know Sea Dog VA because he collabs a lot with Iron Mouse, and their collabs are really funny. Hey, it's that cute femboy I was talking about.
Or Gundam Hathaway. I would need to go all the way back to the beginning to get the full appreciation of everything going on.
can't
You
do
don't
that.
need
I can't do
to.
that.
Like I'm not saying you need to. This is a me thing, you know.
I will say, yeah, if you wanted to go watch Gundam Thunderbolt, you don't necessarily need to watch the very original Gundam. It just kind of helps explain the world that you're in, because like with Gundam Thunderbolt, it's like a 4-episode series. I don't know about Hathaway. I do want to watch it. I haven't gotten around to it. Dude right next to that pink blue top GS Tumblr. This is Gigak? Okay. Yeah, again, I have no idea who they are. Where was I going? Yeah, with Thunderbolt, it is part of the Universal Century, the quote-unquote main timeline, but you don't necessarily need to watch the other timeline stuff. It just helps flesh out the world, like your understanding of the universe that it's in.
I've been trying for years, like hyping
Yeah.
myself to be like, all right, this is the day
Yeah.
where I start my Gundam journey. And
Yeah.
then when I look at the list, I'm just like, maybe next week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I'm gonna go on my little bit of a Gundam journey and tell you guys how I really got into it. Cause like I had mentioned that I watched Gundam Wing as like a teenager, but I wasn't really super into it. I enjoyed the show, I thought somewhat positively, but I didn't really go through and watch a whole lot of the Gundam series at the time. It wasn't until I want to say about 6 years ago now, where I went to an anime convention with my younger brother, and that was where we bought our first Gundam model kits that like we bought ourselves. Take care, Maxie. And we actually built I bought the Heavy Arms Custom from Endless Waltz, the blue one with the double Gatlings. We actually ended up building those at the convention and kind of getting hooked on the model building. And eventually we would start buying more and more, and found and came across what was just coming out at the time, Gundam Build Fighters Season 1 with Sei and Reiji. So we kind of got into like a sort of habit, so to speak, of building our model kits together while watching through that. And then we started, like, the first time going through it, we caught a couple of references, not too much. But then we got a bit more into Gundam, and then we started checking out some of the other series. So then when we went back to build some more Gundam or Gunpla and watch build fighters, we would start recognizing more and more of the references in that show. It was wild how many times it felt like watching it for the first time, because we were finding more and more references we just didn't know about previously. It was wonky.
And then there are certain other Gundams that are just separate from this main timeline, which are much more, let's say, newbie friendly. Stuff like Gundam Wing, Gundam 00.
G Gundam, Witch from Mercury.
What was the Desert Gundam? Fucking
Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Seed.
Fuck Seed.
I call it Gundam Space Africa because that's basically what it is.
Space Africa.
Ooh, don't get canceled for that one, dude. It's set on Mars, FYI.
What?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You fucking know what I'm talking about.
Can you explain Space Africa to me?
I don't know.
Okay, so basically they're stuck on Mars. It's a desert planet, and they're forced to work in mines, and that's why they have the mobile suits, because that's what's effective for mining. Holy shit, dude, that's a loaded statement, man.
It's colony and stuff.
Oh fuck! This is gonna it's
Space Africa?
Space Africa.
Gundam original shows because it was the last newbie friendly Gundam.
It's like, you can tell me that I don't need to watch any other Gundam, but something in my brain just will not allow me to watch it and not be like, oh, there's more.
Yeah, you naturally.
What's the last Gundam you watched? Because I swear you've mentioned this before.
I haven't watched any.
Iron-Blooded Orphans?
Iron-Blooded Orphans, that's it.
I watched
That's
an,
it.
Oh, is that what he's
that
talking about?
one.
Space Africa?
Called it.
What the fuck? Yeah, I watched like one episode of that and then I got scared and I was like, no, I'm not watching it anymore.
I was like, it's not Iron-Blooded Orphans. What is it? It was Iron-Blooded Orphans. All right.
Okay.
It's scary.
All right, let me sell you on like the new Gundam,
God,
which is
okay.
Gundam the Witch from Mercury. So it's a new Gundam.
I will give my own pitch before we hear his. Lesbian sword fighters that use giant robots.
So it's like you.
You know, my one interaction with this show, at least when I've heard of it, the last time I ever heard anything about it was when we were in the car to film with Charlie.
Right.
Which is critical. And the guy who picked us up was talking about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's right.
I just remember sitting there and he's like, yeah, it's really, well, actually, that's not what he sounds like this, but he's like, it's just cool. They have like lesbians in this one. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah, the main girls are.
Yeah, the main character. It's like the first episode where they get engaged, so no spoilerinos there.
Like a couple, right?
Yeah,
But that was all I'd
yeah.
heard about it. Is this guy's like, I just liked it. It's like a lesbian this time. I'm like, what?
I mean, they do like it's kind of got lesbians in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Kinda, I guess. Like, a big part of the character driving was how much these two women cared for each other. But they were roommates, right?
If that's true, that's just what he said, and I was like,
I mean, it's like lesbian, or like it's like Yuri in the same way as like most other Yuri shows, where it's just like there's just two girls that just really get along.
They're just really
They're engaged. Stop beating around the bush.
good friends.
They're just really good friends. Like Licorice Recoil, they're just like the main two girls. They're just really good friends. Are they actually gay? I'll never tell. You know?
That they'll confess how much each other means to each other, but who knows if they're actually gay? Maybe they're just forcing themselves to be in that marriage by situation. It's definitely not romantic between those two. Holy shit, watch Witch for Mercury. It's such good show.
We'll never tell. We'll just hint at it.
Yeah.
And,
That's up
They do confirm it.
to you.
yeah, that's up to you to decide, Dojin artist. But No, so yeah, this is a completely newbie-friendly Gundam, so you can get into this knowing nothing about Gundam. I think it's designed that way as
True,
well.
actually.
And one thing that Gundam has always been, like, one of the main selling points about Gundam has always been the politics, right? And normally, a lot of times, it's been about the politics of war, right? You have two warring nations, and that's been a lot of, like, mecha in general. What I really liked about Gundam The Witch from Mercury is that it focuses more on, like, corporate politics. So it's set in the...
Yep, that was also a pretty big drawing point of Witch from Mercury for me. Excuse me. Where it's a critique of, like, a lot of corporate activity. It's showcasing that. It's making people angry about how corporations actually act. That's one of the big appeals for me for Witch from Mercury. You know, aside from the lesbians that fight in giant robots.
In this world where this whole corporation, like mega corporation, controls basically every kind of giant robot, every mecha that's made.
I don't know what kind of system they live under. It kind of feels like a space anarcho-capitalism. Because, like, I don't know of any governing body. It just seems like it's corporations that work together, and the most powerful are the ones that dictate what can be done.
So
Right.
Google.
Huh?
Google.
So Google fucking, like, imagine if, like, Elon Musk go like,
Bezos.
or
Bezos
Bezos.
Max.
Imagine if Amazon took over the world, which they're basically, and just had a monopoly on giant robots.
Okay.
That would be this, like, corporation.
Right.
And within this corporation, there's, like, branch companies that vie for power within this one giant mega corporation, right? And obviously every different branch companies makes different types of giant robots and different mechas and stuff like that. And obviously there's a special kind of robots called Gundams using gun technology that obviously is like super fucking OP and stuff like that. But it got so OP that they banned the technology in this company by kind of like killing everyone off and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's simplifying, but yeah, that's what happens. That also happens in the pre-season episode 0. So, like, I had watched the episode 0, which was a very stark contrast to the rest of the season. So, FYI, what he's describing here is literally that episode 0 that sets up Witch from Mercury season 1. I don't know if they're going to do season 2.
Like that.
I doubt they're going to do season 2. They might, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
You could have just like made them unemployed, but
yeah, exactly.
let's take it out. Just pop, pop.
Just Men in Black, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I really liked the fact that they didn't go down they didn't just go down the war route again, because I found like Gundam, when I see Gundam and I see like another war story, I'm like, okay, I've seen it before. In fact, I've seen it so many fucking times before. But just seeing them still have a show like steeped in politics, but just shift it into like corporate politics and just like vying for like power within this big mega corporation. I thought, yeah, that's a really interesting take. Like seeing like one scene that stands out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with him here. Like, the majority of the Gundam franchise is critiquing war. It's showing, in a lot of cases, the negative outcomes of war, how it affects the individual people, how it affects other things, how it affects the world in itself. But with Witch from Mercury, it was a lot more of the, what would it be like if we lived under anarcho-capitalism and had giant robots?
Out to me, it's like one of the main characters, one of the main girls, has to like pitch this company idea to all of like these mega corporations.
One of the main lesbians.
To all the leaders of all the branch companies, be like, please invest in my company. We are going to make they basically do a pit like a fucking Shark Tank investor pitch just with fucking giant robots and Gundam, and I'm like, this is actually pretty cool because that's an original take on Gundam.
Yeah, for sure.
And
They've run out of like normal story points. They're like, Shark Tank, fuck it, Let's do anime Shark Tank with Max. What could go wrong?
That sounds epic.
And it's just a lot of these branch companies trying to sabotage each other, and trying to make like the best giant robots they can. It's written by the same person who wrote Code Geass as well.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that. Maybe I should watch Code Geass.
it's got a bit of like high school hijinks in it, but that's what you expect with like Code Geass.
Why the fuck is there high school hijinks?
He's 60% less.
I'm gonna be real. High school hijinks and that drama is why I don't like Seed. So maybe I won't like Code Geass, because like that the high school hijinks is not what drew me to Witch from Mercury. It was A, the lesbians and giant robots, and B, I agree with the it's a different take. That was what also interested me with Witch from Mercury, having it be different than just another war story, despite the fact that those war stories are still important to, get out there and ingrain in people's heads.
Excited to watch it now.
Because they just made it sound sick, and then you're like, by the way, they're in high school.
I did need to mention that because they needed to add giant robots fighting somehow, because it's a fucking
why high
Gundam.
school?
Huh?
Why high school?
It's a high school where basically it's a high school.
Is it like a business school?
It's a privileged high school where daughters and sons of all like the leaders of all these mega corporations kind of like send their kids to this one school, and how they settle any dispute in the school is by setting a duel. They
like that.
A duel. Might makes right within the bounds of this school. So like if you're arguing with somebody and then you challenge them to a duel, doesn't matter whether you're objectively correct or not. Like if you're arguing over 2 + 2 equaling 5 or 4, if the guy saying 5 is a better fighter, then the answer becomes 5. That's essentially how they handle conflict and disputes in the school itself, with mock battles. So like none of the students actually get hurt in the mock battles.
We should bring that back.
That's how the term starts off. Is that one of the girls is betrothed to one of the kids in betrothed to one of the kids in one of the other schools.
Getting married. Nice.
Yeah. And then there's this main girl who's like comes from like a peasant family, like poor girl.
Just like me for real.
She just like me for real. She challenges the guy to a duel, and by winning the duel, she inadvertently also means that the other girl is betrothed to her as well.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the rules of the duel that was set.
Like, are they like physical duels, or are they like, how many stocks and bonds can I buy in 5
No,
minutes?
You're fighting with your gun with your Gundams. You're fighting with your Gundams, and that's how you duel. That's how they let teenagers settle disagreements, because that never goes wrong ever.
That's the physical like giant robot duels.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like they added that because they're like, we can't make an entire Gundam just on stocks.
They should do that. They should try it.
Fuck, we need to add giant robot fights in this somehow.
I feel like Gundam fans will, though. They will watch stocks. As long as you say they're trading robots, I think Gundam fans are like, okay.
It's like, my model has Tesla technology. Watches the stocks rise.
Yeah. But honestly, it's giant robot fights. Fucking amazing. It's one of the prettiest looking mecha shows I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
Production values off the scale, but also I think more people need to watch it. And I think people are scared just because it's Gundam. And I'm just like, just fucking watch it. If you ever have been curious about Gundams, or if it's just been a long time since you've watched a giant robot show, I think this is like the perfect show for that.
Yeah. I think another big reason.
I would definitely agree with that. If you've been like kind of on the fence, hey, Gundam's been kind of neat to look at, but I have been kind of intimidated to jump in on, check out Witch from Mercury, at least a few episodes. Maybe you like it, maybe you won't. I personally think it's worth the watch of, 25 episodes total? So it's not that lengthy of a commitment to check out if you were to watch the entire season of Witch from Mercury.
Reason why people are scared to get into Gundam is, as you said, like it's a lot of them are kind of like the same themes and like the same story, just like repackaged, right?
Yeah.
Like
Though that critique right there isn't really something that somebody new getting into it might make. That would be something that a fan of it or somebody who actually knows a fair bit had already told them about it, so they have like predisposed biases towards it. Largely, I think if you see some cool designs and they're appealing to you, check it out. It might be worth it.
as much as I like really enjoyed like Iron Blooded Orphans, I will admit I watched it and I was just like, yep, this is the Gundam show. It's a Gundam show.
I think that's also the same reason why I never got as invested in 86 as I thought I should have. I mean, I know your opinions on 86.
I got tried in the court of public opinion for saying that shit was,
exactly.
that shit was garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed 86, but like, it was just seeing like another mecha show about war, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen this before. You know? I've seen it's like different flavors of the same thing.
I'm trying to remember what he means by 86. I've drawn a blank on that one.
And not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's just like a story that I've seen before. So I really appreciated Gundam the Witch from Mercury, like just taking like a different route to giant robots, but still making it political, which is one thing I've always liked.
Here's the question: is it canon with the entire like universe, or is it like a spin-off? Okay.
Yeah, it's its own separate entity, which is why I say it's like you can jump on as a newbie knowing nothing about Gundam, because it's got nothing to do with.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I probably won't watch that.
Yeah, as soon as
I mean, it doesn't always appeal to everybody, but hey, if you like the idea of giant mechas fighting each other, Witch from Mercury is worth checking out. But yeah, there's a lot of series that are potentially recommendable. As much as I dislike Gundam Seed, if you want to know the gist of what happens with the very original Mobile Suit Gundam, but you want more high school drama, check out Gundam Seed, because it's like basically beat for beat the exact same story as the original Mobile Suit Gundam. But there's a lot more high school drama and literal Jesus moments. That was a weird time. Some of the designs in that were cool, but largely I'm not a fan of Seed. But I recognize that it has a massive fan base. They're just wrong. Just want to take a quick second and thank my beeps who have joined the channel. So thank you to Joestar and Maxi Kitty.